Thanks, Narayanan, for formatting everything and storing it in a Google Drive. I really
Naveen,
appreciate that.
you can also put it on OneDrive. I think OneDrive is official, and that you can share also.
Okay, I was able to download three of those sessions. Rest of seven, I could not do it. I will check with Ardnari. Is there any? It's a shared link only, but I could not download rest of the seven sessions. So I will check with him, and after I download to my local copy, and we'll try to put it in OneDrive, and we'll share the link. Okay, it's 3-1 now. We'll start the session. Today, we can see how to handle the packages in Python, then how to work with database. I'm not going to cover database concepts. I mean, I will try to use some PostgreSQL database adapter, and will try to insert some values and retrieve some values from that, and how to take a copy of the table to the CSV file, and how to load the CSV file into the table. And if time permits, then we'll see the real-time examples like scrapping and speech recognition. Speech recognition take only around 5 to 6 statements in Python to execute that, because we are going to use the Google API to do that. So it's very simple process. Then chatbot with list, maybe. So let's start. Um, to install any package in Python, or you should use pip or conda. Uh, Before we go into that, let's set some environment variables so that you can able to execute those commands in from command prompt itself, not going into anaconda command prompt. Let me go into anaconda command prompt. Okay. uh, in command prompt CMD, right? This command prompt anaconda is different, and normal command prompt that comes with Windows is different. So if I need to execute some pip install or conda commands here from command prompt itself, you need to define some environment variables. So try to find where your Python gets stored. So this is the location of the Python. So until this location, you just copy and keep it somewhere. And where my conda files, or I mean executable bat files, are there, to execute conda install, conda uninstall, you need to, from command prompt, if you need to install, then you should copy all these three libraries location, and should put it in environment variable. In Windows, if you just search for environment variables, it will come. Otherwise, you can go to system properties, then we'll go from there. Since I'm using Windows 10, it's somewhat okay to use the environment variable search. So I'll click on this and the path, and double click on that. So I have already added the three paths. This one is for creating virtual environment that should be identified by NB viewer conda, so that we will discuss later. For now, you should have all these three paths defined under the path variable path, so that if you execute any pip or conda command from command prompt itself, it will work. Okay, if I type in Python also, it will, since I pointed that library, right, so it brings me up. Otherwise, it won't give you that result you will be doing for Java installation or any other installation, right? It's just like that. Okay. I will try to execute all the commands in Anaconda prompt itself. So compare as compared to command prompt, right? Anaconda prompt little bit faster, so it executes in the same directory. So I will close this. Uh, we have two Python packages manager, that is pip. Python installs packages. So that's the abbreviation of that pip. Pip, what's going to do? It's PyPy index is there. All the Python packages created across the world, they will put it in a repository called PyPy. I will search that. All the packages you need some third-party packages as well, right? Or they will commit the code here. So you see, so far 1,30,553 packages are there. So before you create your own package or something, just check here if already someone created that. So since it's open source community, everyone is uploading their whatever the limitations they feel, they update and redistribute the packages over here. So before do any work on your own, just search here, then you can install that. It must be available. Okay, whatever the requirement you have. So pip is one kind of installing the packages. Conda is also one of the used to install the Python packages. The difference between the pip and Conda is, previously the pip used that egg format. Now it's using wheel format, that is already compiled code, so that it's faster. That was the difference between them. And Conda also using that binary format only to execute all the packages. It will download and will install the packages. The difference is pip can only install Python packages, but Conda can install any programming languages packages through Conda command. You can install Node.js as well through Conda install Node.js. Okay, so this is the command for that. If you need any help on that, just pip help. It will return you list of, let me zoom in, a list of available options for you. You can install or you can download the wheel file and can install through the wheel. Otherwise we will see one by one here. Before that, let's create some new functionality, then we'll try to package that and we'll try to import that as well. So first we will see how to create package, then we'll see one by one the pip and Conda, then the database. For example, the enumerate function, right? Enumerate function return me the index, not the count. Okay, for example, I have some list of numbers, then I'm enumerating that to return me index and the actual item, right? So the index and item. Suppose you are thinking that hey, I don't need index, I need count, like that. So if you want to create this own enumerate function, then you can do it. You can name it any name. I don't want to disturb the built-in function, so I'm giving menum, my enum, and that will take some list of argument. Then for item in L, I'm just yielding so that it will become a generator. Item alone it's returning. To return the count, right, I'm initializing some variable C0. Every time I'm increasing that, C equal to C plus 1, otherwise C plus equal to 1. Anyway, it's going to work. Okay, let me define it. If I call the same here, now we will get the count in place of index. That means in place of 0, additionally you can use that index plus 1 itself you can give, then you can go with that. But just to create your own algorithm for that, I'm just doing like this. Okay, in place of enumerate, I'm giving enum, and I'll change here to count. Okay, I missed to returning that counter. Okay, so now in place of starting 0, the actual enumerate method would have started by -1. That's why it may give me that index. So we have just simple change that 0 so that it's giving me the exact thing. Okay, if I want to convert this as package, then I'll go to my current directory and I'll create some new file. I will name it as my module 1. Right? If I open with PyCharm, right, that time it will take much time, so I'm opening with Notepad. Okay, so I can import this functionality to other modules as well. So I'm just printing. I will save it here. Okay, so that I can import this my mod 1 into my program. To import that, you can use the import method. I have imported that. If I want to use that enum function, right, you can directly use that the module name. Module is basically contains many number of classes. If you're following object oriented programming, then if you're following functional programming, then you will have multiple functions like we have in this example. Okay, so I have menum function, right? So I can use that here itself, like we have used there, right? In place we have used that, we have defined that function here and called here itself, but in this case we are importing that module, then we are calling. So I'm just importing the module, so I need to put the module name and the function name. Okay, count and item. I think L is on memory, so it will work, I guess. Okay, you want to simplify this one. You want to call some my module, right? If you give as, then it will treat this name as this It's like alias or something, whatever the name you call. Then I can use that here itself. Then I can execute. I will get the same result. Okay, you can import the module, I mean the function itself to the memory. How you can do that is from my module 1 import. I'm specifying the function name enum. Okay, so since you have imported that function itself, you can get rid of this Then if you execute the same, if we execute the code, then you will get the same result. Okay, you can name it this as well with some me Okay, as I mean to say that you can use as anywhere. Okay, how Python finds, for example, if you want to get all the functions in that particular module, you can give import star, but you need to use the module name dot the function name if you are using that one. See, because that me is not defined, right? Uh, See, it's in memory, that's why it's running. So if I restart that, uh, it won't run. Because that me is not identified. So whenever you are importing with star, it's also not readable for other programmers from which function it's executing. So better to use import that function itself or the module itself so that it will be very clear for the other programmers who is working with that module. Why it's not finding that? Okay, I need to give. Okay, when I restarted that went off. Okay. Okay, so how it's finding my package correctly? Hey, I have stored in current directory. Maybe because of that it may retrieved. How it's importing other modules? For example, if I'm importing Panda, then how it's importing? Okay, it has a dependency NumPy. I didn't install that. That's why it's giving me an error. Okay, let's import. Okay. So how it finds all these files? You can there is a special path is there. It will check for current directory first and site packages and rest of the paths. Okay, how can we know which path it's checking? For that, you can use import sys. Don't confuse with import sys and import OS. They have different methods available for each sys and OS. Sys is mainly for its sys refers to Python. OS refers to operating system, whereas you can do the change directory, make directory, remove directory, and to find the path, the path is exist or not. So those things you can do with it. With sys object, you can get the size of an object, right? We have seen in, for example, if I need to know about the Python object which I have created, how many bytes it took. So for this purpose, you can use sys. Okay. So if I execute this path, see, Python will come. If I'm importing any package, then it will check the current directory. You may see this empty. Since I'm on the directory, it's returning me the empty. This is refers to the current directory. Okay. Then it will check for the site packages inside this library. So whenever you are installing, so all the third party or the packages will be get stored in here. So some of the daytime OS and sys packages comes with Python, right? So all these packages will be there in side packages. So for example, I'm moving this file. uh, to a desktop. Okay, and I will go and delete this file in my current directory. Okay, so if I try to import that module, again it's taking, I guess. Okay, I have already added the desktop path here, so that's why it's returning me that. Let me. This is actually a list. You can do any append remove operation. Okay. I removed the default path. Anyway, it's not going to affect permanently. It's going to take from Python path variable there. So I will just put in back. And I will remove this path. And then, okay, that path get removed. Okay. So if I import this module now, it's again stored in memory, it seems. Sorry for that. If I execute now, see, it says the module is not found. So it checks for the current directory and all the side packages whether it's there or not. Then if it's not there, then it's going to return me that value that it's not found. So you can add the path so that it will find where my the I am moved to desktop, right? So if I append that path to this list inside the sys path, it's going to find that file. So if I import now, so it's imported. Okay, this is actually a temporary fix. If you close the notebook and reopen, whatever I have added to the desktop, it will go off. Hey, how come it's added for you alone? Because in the environment variable, I have defined a variable called Python path. See, I have defined that, so it's included additionally this path as well. If I remove that, defaultly that this path won't contain this desktop. So if you need to change, you need to have some other location for other packages, then you need to define this with caps Python path and the directory where it resides. Okay. Okay, let's move on to this pip. If you need any, if you don't find any, if you need any help on that, if you give pip help, it will return you all the commands. Then, okay, you can do the install and download and uninstall freeze. We'll see it one by one. For example, uh, I'm planning to install some Pi audio. package. So when I execute this in the background, it will go to PyPy site I have shown you, right? So it will check for the source. That's actually literally that is actually a source code written in Python. Then it will create it already. If any wheel files that it will compile the files or zip formatted files, so it will go for that wheel file. Then it will download that wheel file and it will install. Okay, so I'm installing that Pi audio. If you that a package is already there, the requirement already satisfied like that. You can uninstall through. My screen is visible. Uh, Okay, just change that view to the actual view so that you can see what I'm saying. To uninstall package, you can use uninstall command. So it will ask for whether to continue or not. If you give S, it will go ahead and will delete all the files related to Pi audio. Okay. So particular version, whenever you are giving that pip install PyAudio, right, you are not specifying any version peculiarly, then it will install the latest version, right? If you need, if you're working on some project and that requires some degraded packages, right? That time you can specify the version number alone, then you can install that file. Okay, so I let me install some numpy. I think it's not there in my. Okay. If you give double equal sign, you are looking for that particular the version of the package itself. If it's not found, then it won't execute. It won't install the package. Uh, to know what are the versions available, I'm just giving some random number 9898. Usually that will have some minor and major releases, right? So that's actually a version number. I'm just giving without a period, just a random number. If I execute this command, it will give you the list of, hey, you need to install whatever uh, the color is very bad. Okay, see these 1.30 version is there, 1.41 version is there. So among this version, you should select like that. Let me take some older version so that we can upgrade that to pip install. Okay, let me install numpy's this version. Okay, so you can also do greater than like that, but when you give that, you should give it in quotes. Okay, whenever you are using some special operators, right? So the time you need to give in a string. I'm executing this. It seems like I already have NumPy 1.14.1. It uninstalling that package and installing this one. Okay. In Conda we have update command, but in pip, right, we have install and uninstall only. But to upgrade, you need to pass in some parameters with the install. Okay, I need to update this numpy, right? Then you can pass in parameter upgrade, or if you're giving double hyphen, right, that time you are saying the Python that I'm going to give the full description of the name. Okay, so if whenever you are giving a single hyphen and uppercase u, or sometimes uppercase and lowercase itself have different meaning. Okay, so I'm executing this to upgrade from 1.13.1 to 1.14.1. So this way you can upgrade your packages. Let's wait for it to complete. Okay, it's done. You can also give this with a single iPhone, and sometimes with install, right? Sometimes install or uninstall. Uh, you need to give uppercase with single this one. If I give a small case U, right, which refers upgrade, it won't work. So I have already installed, so requirement satisfied. If I give this to small U, right, it won't recognize that one. See, it didn't recognize that one. So you should make sure whenever giving hyphen, that shorthand, you can use the uppercase, then the smaller case if you are describing that completely. In this case, upgrade, hyphen upgrade. Okay. You're working on some project, and your colleague also want to work on that project. Okay. So you have some set of environment that particular versions are installed, and you have some code executing in there. But later, for all those packages, there is an update for the packages. So if he creates with the newer version, your code may not be compatible. So to set up all your environment to your friend's system or co-worker, then you can write all the uh, packages into a text file and can install it from there. uh, you have freeze command for that. It will freeze all the version, then it will write into a file. Okay. I will name it as some package list.txt. Okay. In this current directory, I'm on Murugnab directory. So when I go there and see, all my packages installed my environment will be written in the text file. Let me go there. See, I have 191 packages installed on my system. Okay, so if he uses this file and installs, then everything will get installed with the same version. See, here versions are specified. So how can I use that file in my front system? So I have sent this file. Okay, so same pip install, then you are specifying parameter, or that means that it will read from the requirement file. In this case, our requirement file is plist.txt. Okay, if I give enter, then it will read the file and it will try to execute all the files, all the packages in there. Since I am copying that file into same environment, right? So it satisfied all the requirement. That means it's already there and it didn't install any package. It seems like only one package left. No, IPython kernel alone. Whenever you are creating different virtual environment, right? Whenever you install with Anaconda, at that time only one Jupyter notebook with one kernel will be there. So if you are creating another virtual environment with, for say, Python 2.7 or other versions of Python, you are working on some code. You don't want to interfere the 3.6 code with 2.7 packages, so you can create the virtual environment and can work without disturbing each other. Okay, we'll see that virtual environment in a second. So for that virtual environment as well, you need to install Jupyter Notebook separately. I will say you how to overcome that issue with NB Conda. That will check for all the kernels available in this directory. Then it will create all the kernels. You don't need to require install Jupyter Notebook for each virtual environment. Okay. Virtual to create a virtual environment in Python itself, you should at least, I mean, you should have virtual env installed. You can create the virtual environments in Conda as well. Okay, so I will try to execute this command so that I will have like pip. This also kind of statement. Okay, since I already have, if you don't have, just install it to create virtual environment. With virtual env, right? Managing environments, I'm not. It's not friendly, but when you create a virtual environment with Conda, you can manage the virtual environments effectively and easily. Okay, so I have already installed that. So I will name my virtual environment like you can create some separate folder. Okay, I have already created one, I guess. Okay.
So this virtual environment will be a copy of our current packages, is it? Like whatever is there in the current
No,
packages
no, it
directory.
don't. It will install separate packages. It will download and install separate packages. Packages have some catchy file, right? It may install from local catchy file itself, but it will install separate packages. It won't reuse those packages.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, okay. Let me create some new directory before I create a virtual environment so that all the files related to that environment will be in the same folder. Okay, let's say mm, virtual environment. Let's create a virtual environment here with the name VENV some 10. Okay, I'm executing that. It will check for where my Python installed. So see, whenever you're creating new virtual environment, right, the least requirement to have Python and pip and wheel and setup files to be installed. So it will take a copy of those files. I mean, what are the required files, and it will install it for this environment. It's actually a separate copy of the packages. See, it's installing setup tools, pip, wheel, those for this virtual environment separately. It created, copied, and installed Python in the virtual environment. This is separate Python. Actually, it takes time. That's why I've created the virtual environment previously. I wanted to reuse that, but I forgot the name what I gave. So okay. See here, name is base. How can I go into this VANV? Okay. Before we go into that, let's check some commands for in base directory itself. I mean, base Python itself. If I give pip list, it will give you the list of packages that is installed on your computer. Okay, all the packages I have installed in my system. How can I check what are the packages that needs upgrade? You can give outdated, then it will list you all the outdated packages. That means the newer version of package is available but you didn't update. Okay, so if I execute this, then all the outdated packages it will show. See, these are the packages that needs upgrade. Okay, see, the current version you have is 0.12.13, but you have latest version for this package 0.12.14. So all these packages needs upgrade. So if you want to see what are the packages, you can out there short form this as single hyphen and O. Okay, single hyphen and O, otherwise double hyphen outdated. Up to date packages, if you want to see, then you can give up to date or shorthand. I think caps U. Let's see. It's actually small U. All the updated packages it will show you. You can also do a search with pip search. It will search all the description of the packages, then it will return you the list. These are all updated packages. If you want to search some package in PyPy, right, you can give I'm looking for some math function. This is not exact module name. I'm just searching with keyword math. Then what are the packages available for this keyword? Then it will list you. Okay, see, uh, in this method there is no math, but it's have math in here. So it will search the Python pip search searches the description, not the module name. Okay, so whichever the module you like, just copy and the same version and you can install it. Okay, so we have a virtual environment VENV10, right? How to activate that? So let's move on to EEN. Okay, so here I have my scripts installed. This base will get changed to V virtual environment, whatever the name I gave. Hmm.
It's on NV10.
Uh, yeah, actually, since I'm into the folder, right, it should find that ENV10. Uh, Okay, I need to log into that folder, it seems. Okay, so it automatically creates this vn10 folder. In that scripts folder you have some bat file activate. So if you run that code, then the environment name gets changed. You see, if I give pip list here, there we have seen in my base or root environment I have installed 192 packages. If I give pip list here, only few packages, that more important packages only get installed. Okay, see, only 3 packages is installed here. So if I execute that install with the requirement file, then every packages from that file, some txt I gave you, right? Okay. If I execute this command, all the packages that I have installed in root environment will come in here, since I freezed and copied to the text file. I won't execute this. This will take more time. Okay. How can I deactivate this environment is deactivate. Okay. So the name changed from virtual environment 10 to base. To remove that from complete this one, right, you can delete the vnv10 folder itself, so it won't give you any problem. Let's see what is pip wheel. I told you, right, when you see the installation messages, it will download the wheel file and it will install. So wheel files are zipped format, and whenever you are installing again, it won't re-execute and it will compile. It's some think of it's some package format. Before that they had egg format. This is very what to say, fast in installing. I want to create some wheel. Suppose I have a source package and I don't have wheel for that file, then I can create the wheel file for that, and can I'm specifying directory here where to store that wheel file. I say my wheels. This is actually a folder name. I'm creating wheel for example, I'm creating wheel file for NumPy. And for NumPy, wheel files are available. If you see any source code that requires wheel file, then you can execute this pip wheel. I'm creating the wheel files for NumPy. If it's already there, it will tell you that wheel file already there. Then it will copy that wheel file to my wheels. See, anyway, it saved that wheel file here. If you want to install that wheel file, let me go back to my root. I can give the path of that wheel file and can execute. So this is what pip install does. It will search for the source code. If wheel files are available, it will download that wheel file and will install that wheel file. That pip install does this one. Okay. So since I have installed NumPy already, um, it didn't run. Requirements already satisfied. So let's see how to handle the packages with Conda.
So Naveen, is it some sort of like you're downloading it as a cache file and then like the process uses the cache, or like what does this wheel exactly mean?
See, previously the pip disadvantage was source code was there on the go, it will compile and will install in your system. But Conda has that ability. Already they have compiled version of packages, so when you install through Conda, it's faster. Okay, now they have introduced that wheel concept here itself through pip wheel. That's a special format. That's not actually a source code. That is the compiled version of the source code, and you are executing that one. So you are introducing some new package for that file. If it's not there, a wheel extension, you can create a wheel like this and can install it. Some others uses wheel for some custom packages. It doesn't have any wheel, right? They will create the wheel for that and will install through this command pip install that wheel file itself. So in the background, if you are passing any package name, if it's a source file, then it will convert to wheel and will install it. So it's basically a packaging format. It's a wheel packaging format. Faster, it will be faster.
Sort of a bytecodes in Java, binary file
Uh,
which gets created
uh,
and you use that binary file.
you can think like that.
So it is like it saves some space, or like why do they do like this? Because it's an open source, right? Python is open source, like anyone can modify it.
Yeah, you can get the source version also, right? You can get any source of these files. While
So
installing, it will be like that. The source code also get downloaded and it will be stored separately. If you give help, right? Let me go here. Mm, what packages I have? Okay, RE. If I give help of RE, then if you go last, where the exact location of that file, it will give you. Otherwise, you can use thunder file method. See, you can see the source code. Compiled version will install, then the source code also will be stored in somewhere. You can modify this and can create on your own.
okay.
Okay, otherwise, you can check for some default the file, then it will give you the path. These two hyphens called thunder in Python world. Okay, so these are constants I have told you, right? So RE is an object, the file is special uh, constructor or something. So they will keep for each and every module. When you are calling that object with this file, then it will give you the path where it gets stored. Okay, any module, for example, importing OS. If I check the file path, you can get to know where it is there, where it is. Okay.
Okay, okay, but what is the advantage of using wheel and then like without using wheel? That's what I'm trying to understand.
See, whenever you are executing, right, you are importing. It will execute binary only, not the source code. Okay. For
Okay.
additional, if you are modifying, then it will create new wheel.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's a packaging format. Think of like that.
Okay. Okay. No, because I was in an understanding that Python is sort of an interpreter sort of language, so that's why
Yeah.
this got confused. Okay.
Implementation is different from
Mm-hmm.
interpreter. While
Okay.
execution method, it will
Mm-hmm.
read one by one, then it will compile and will change, right? When you
Mm.
implement with Jython, it will create intermediate file, something like a bytecode you will call, right? Some intermediate file,
Right. Right.
object file or something. So
Mm.
that intermediate file will not belongs to 0 and 1 also, not the
Mm.
source code, high level language also. It will contain some intermediate file. When you are implementing Python with uh, 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 C Python, I guess, Python, then it will create a intermediate file .pyc. If you are using Jython, that's called different implementation that will create some other file. So it will be like that. So
Okay.
implementations are different.
Okay.
If you take this topic and you search, end of the day also we won't find that answer, because in the beginning, right, I was searching that only. Hey, they are saying interpreter, but how come it creates .pyc file? So interpreter means it's a different understanding. They say that they will share the source code to other system, and they will on the go create a compile and will run. It doesn't require any compile intermediate steps like that. But the meaning is implementation is different. Language is interpreted. So it's very big topic. It will take at least 1 week, I guess. So just explore on yourself.
Okay.
So implementation
Okay.
is different.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Thanks, Naveen. Yeah.
No problem. Let's move on to Conda. You can install the packages through Conda as well, but the difference is it can install any packages, other programming languages packages as well. So if you need to know about something Conda, then you can use Conda info that will give you the version number and some other details. Okay, okay, where it gets stored, all these details. Okay, so if you want to update complete, if you have any help, if you need any help, then you can give conda help. Then it will give you the help commands. See, create used to create a virtual environment. Then install the packages, uninstall the packages. The remove used to remove the packages in virtual environment or the virtual environment itself. So pip list and this list also same. But what I have faced is pip I have installed some packages. If I try to uninstall that package through Conda, it didn't find that package. So it's vice versa. If I'm installing some packages through Conda and I'm trying to remove that to pip install, then that time it doesn't find. But when I give pip list and Conda list, it's giving me same number of packages. So it's much there to explore what context is that. So we don't want to get into this topic. Okay. So okay. So to install some packages, what are the packages available? You can use Conda list. It will return you number of files or packages that gets installed. If you need specific help, right? If you need install command help, then you can use Conda help -help. Okay. Install same like some, but in Conda some fewer files only will be there. Uh, it's again different channels contributing to these packages. Okay, again one more question will come into mind. Whether it's going to use the PyPy packages or the Anaconda itself creating different packages. For NumPy, as far as I see, they are using they are just doing. I don't see any difference, but they are installing their own version of NumPy. Maybe packaging format will maybe different or something. Okay. See, this Py audio is not there. It must be NumPy must be there. See, first solving environment, it will check in this particular environment that package is available or not. Then it will verify, then it will execute. Okay, so solving environment is done. Py audio is smaller file, that's why I wanted to use that here. But NumPy is big file, it's taking somewhat time. Okay, it's installed. To uninstall, you can use uninstall command. And also you can specify the versions. So I won't execute this. Again, it will take some time. Maybe it will take some less time, I guess. Let's uninstall that. Pip is also packaged, right? They will also Pip also have some versions, so you can install or update that as well through pip install -u then pip. Okay, let me give no here. Let's we can create. You have conda search as well here. This will search for the package name, not the description. Okay, I'm searching for numpy. Um, it will list all the versions and which version is compatible for 1.13 is for Python 2.7, 13.1 for different packages available. So which version you want, then you can select it and the double equal sign and the version number, then you can go ahead and can install it. Okay, let's create some virtual environment. You can give double hyphen and the name or the single hyphen and both works fine. Okay, so I will name it as some Python 2.7. Okay, while creating environment itself, you have the ability to select the Python version. If you give 2.7, it will install that Python into your virtual environment, or some new packages also you can give by dividing it by space. Okay, so Python 2.7 I'm installing. Then if you want Jupyter Notebook get installed there, you can just give Jupyter here. Okay, so if I execute this, then it will install all the pip wheel and separate packages. That is mandatory wheel setup tools. Then what are the items I'm giving here? Python 2.7 package and Jupyter related package it will create. Okay, default means it will take higher version, I guess. Okay. I won't execute this. It will again will take some time. So I have already created some environment. You can check that environments through conda info hyphen envs or conda list env. Both give you the same list of environments. I think that's see now I am currently at base environment. That's why you see asterisk here. I have created two more virtual environment, Pi35, like I gave Pi27, right? Like Pi35 I gave and installed Python 3.5 version and also created venv. Okay, so totally three environments and including other environment. It seems like whatever the environment I have created through virtual env that gets listed here, I guess. But these three was created using conda create method. Okay, so how can I switch from one environment to other environment? You can do conda directly the activate command. Activate and the name you gave while you creating the new environment. If I give pip list or conda list, it will give me the list of packages installed in here. if I give in base environment, then it would have gave me many more packages installed. Here some fewer files only get installed. Let's see. Okay. So to deactivate the environment, you can deactivate. Then, sorry, spelling. When you deactivate, it will go to root environment or base environment only. To activate, you can use activate, then the virtual environment name, then to deactivate, you can use the deactivate. While creating environment itself, it will show you what are the commands to activate and deactivate those environments. Okay, if I need to install some packages on those environment, okay, virtual environment I need to use, either you can activate that environment 535, then you can install conda install doesn't have PyAudio, right? That's why I gave pip install. Okay, if you give pip list now, it will include that PyAudio as well. Yeah, it's here. Okay, so you can install this way, or you can install some packages without activating as well. I'm deactivating and going to base environment. Name and my environment name, then the package name. For example, let's try to install the same thing. Anyway, it's going to return me already requirement satisfied. So without activating as well, you can give this command and install onto that particular virtual environment from base itself. Okay, it seems that package is not there. Okay, you can also remove packages on the virtual environment. Either you can activate and go into that particular environment and can remove it. If you are doing it from this environment, you can do that. I mean the base environment. It seems like numpy is not there. Okay, that's why it gave me this. Okay. So conda remove will remove the packages if you are passing in at last packages name. If you want to delete that environment itself, then you can give -all, then it will remove that virtual environment itself. See, all the packages it's try to remove. If I give Y, it will execute, it will remove all the packages and the environment as well. It will take some time, so I will give no. Okay, you can clone the environment as well. Instead of writing into a file and reinstalling that, you can clone that environment. This time also it's going to install separate packages. Okay, it's not going to use the same base packages, it's going to use different packages. It will get installed. Okay, I'm creating a new environment. You can give a name first or the clone first, anything. I will name it as some clone environment from this Python 3.5 environment. I'm creating new environment called clone environment. Okay, if I execute this now, then it will copy all the packages in the Python 3.5 will get copied to clone environment. This environment is already exist. See, from Py35, it's copying to Py352. So it's the new name for that environment. And what is the environment I'm cloning? So this one. Totally 70 packages are there and 10 files. It will copy all the packages to this one. I think it will ask me proceed or no. If it asks, fine. Otherwise, it will take more time.
So Navin, these setups are all done in your local laptop, right? If we want to
Yeah,
put it on a server kind of environment, is it the same process that we need to follow, or something else?
yeah. You can write into a file like freeze, right? We also have some command in Conda. Conda list you are giving, right? Then you pass in parameter explicit. It will write after this process done. I will explain that. It's also same like pip freeze. It's taking all the packages name and versions and writing into text file, right? Likewise,
Right.
you can write into a file and install it.
Okay.
When a clone is kind of in the same system doing, I guess.
Okay.
It's creating environment here itself, right? So on the same server means that's fine. Different server in the sense you need to write into a file and no problem. That's why I fear to run all the codes. See, it's taking time. Okay, meanwhile, we'll see. Hope you all installed that PostgreSQL, right? So if you installed, then if you search for PG admin, Postgres admin, that's a UI where you can see all the objects of that database. So you would have given some username, super username and password. I have already changed that, given that password and connected to this database. So this is admin panel. You can uh, connect to the database through pSQL, this one as well. So server name, database name, port name. If you give all enter for this, then it will be connected to Postgres database as a user Postgres. If you want to list all the database inside, then you can give /l. That will give you list of databases. if you want to um, connect to different database, for example, I have connected to Postgres database, right? If I need to connect to MyDB, then you can use /c to connect. See, the name changed. If I list all the tables, then I need to give /t. If I need to know complete details about this table phone book, then you need to pass in that name. It will give you what are the data types the table contains and the index if it has. Okay. Then help, simply help. If you need for any psql commands, then you can give /? It will give you what are the commands you can write in this panel. Okay, so to quit /q. So we are not going to see all this PostgreSQL related stuff, just how we can connect to complete this session, right? Anyway, end of the day, if you're creating or working with real-time project, you should have some database in the background to store data and retrieve data, right? To know about that, I'm just taking as PostgreSQL because all the training materials that were available, right? I see SQLite database they are using, but in real time, PostgreSQL only used. So that's why I took and going to explain some insert and copy those basic stuffs. To know more details about what are the data types it support internally, how it works, what are the isolation level and transaction, and what are the benefits, those things you explore on your own. Otherwise, this is actually a separate session topic, I guess. Okay.
Naveen,
Still
is this
executing.
database, Naveen?
Yeah.
Yeah, is the database is going to connect through ODBC driver or native local driver? How it will be the database connection from Python to?
ODBC database connector. A
Okay.
different connector for different database. Some ADO also there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So for this PostgreSQL, it's
ODBC
ODBC.
driver. Okay. Okay.
Mm, okay, it's executed. Okay, okay. Someone asked me about writing the requirements to the file, right? You can like freeze command only. So mm, some package, I will name it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I will execute this command. What it will do, it will write all the packages in the current environment to some pack.txt. If I go there, this also kind of freeze only. So all the packages are get stored here from where I need to copy with the version numbers. To use this file, there itself they have commented this code and kept it here. So if I copy that and paste, environment you want to copy, you want to create, okay. New env and file name, some pack.txt. So if I execute this, then it will create environment with all the packages. Okay. Okay. Clear, right? Whoever asked that question. Okay, let me. Python supports almost all type of databases, whether it's relational or non-relational databases. It supports all the databases. Okay, mostly PostgreSQL only used among in conjunction with Python. It has different advantages. You can define your data types on your own, and you can inherit the table and sophisticated logging mechanism and transaction level asynchronous replication. Each topic will take at least 2 hours. Please explore this on your own. Okay, so you would have installed the Python. Excuse me, sorry. 1 second. 1 second. Okay, the adapter anyway, database is different set of context and programming is different, right? To make it like Japanese and Indian speaking, some common intermediator is required, right? Likewise, we need adapter so that whatever I am speaking, the Japanese can understand. Like that, you need adapter, right? So for PostgreSQL, I'm using Scicop G2 adapter. You can install it through pip install. I would have that already, I guess. If it's not there, then you just install it. It's already there. Recon satisfied. Okay, so let's create some databases. I don't have. I don't have some sample databases. So I will create some new database here. I'll name it as sample and I'm executing that. Okay, database created. If you give refresh, then it will show you that a sample databases without any tables inside. Let's create table through cursor execute. Okay, I have imported that module. You should create a connection for the database, right? Every database in whichever database you need to connect. Since we have the local copy of that, and it's running on a port 5432. That's the default port you would have given when you install that PostgreSQL. Okay, so the database name and user and password. Usually, you will not pass this in program itself. I mean, explicitly you won't provide this the password here itself. Usually, you will create some .ini file, that's installation file. Then you will pass that file. Then you will read all the parameters. Then you will pass in here. So no one would not know about that what's going on. I mean, storing in a common location and using it for multiple connections or multiple programs. That also we will see. For now, we have database created and imported adapter. Let me connect the database through connect method. The method available for the Scicop-G2. It will create the connection. Okay, so it will check the statement is executed, then else block will executed. If any error, normally exception also would catch some errors related to some errors, right? If Scicop G2 dot database error, I have told you, right? If you need to raise on your own exception, you need to create a class. So they have created a class database error for this object and raising that, so that any errors coming inside, I mean coming for any duplicates or anything, it will capture the error and it will print us. Let me execute this one. So we have created a connection or a session with the database. To execute queries on the database, we should create a cursor to manipulate objects on the database. So I'm creating a cursor using the cursor method. If you need to know more details about that, just shift tab or any help, then you can read about that. Okay, so it's creating a cursor. So we have some special attributes for this class, that is connection. It will show you whether it's closed or not, what are the parameters it's used to connect that database. Okay, let me create some new table. I'm using multi-line command here, I mean multi-line string, because it has multi-line, right? If I use single character, single string, it will give you an error because one line only it will take. Okay, that's why I have triple quotes. I am explaining this because I had doubt about that previously when I was learning. Okay, I'm executing this. Okay, so executing means I'm just storing the string in a variable called create table. This is not a convention to use camel case or something. It should be all smaller case. I just created like that. Okay, you can execute that query through cursor execute method. Uh, you should pass in a string and the values. This case, select only if I'm passing any var condition. That time that variable is dynamic, right? For this one, it doesn't take any arguments is required. So I'm passing in that create variable name, then I'm executing this, and I'm also committing that code. If I execute this without the commit method, right, it will keep these what to say, it won't, it will keep in a transaction. When I'm committing the transaction, that time only it will affect in table. Okay, yeah, I'm removing that connection. Usually it will have in else block, so that if it's executed successfully, that time it will come for else block and it will execute and it will print that statement. If any error, you should roll back, since it's a transaction, right? Even though you corrected your errors and re-executing that, it won't execute. It will give you the same error again and again. So to reset that, you should give the rollback, whatever the changes that are in transaction. To revert that, you should use the rollback. If you need additional information, please feel free to shift tab so that you will get all the required information. So I will execute this. Table is created. Since I have committed, it should be there. Let me refresh this table. So table created. To check what are the properties it has, like what are the data types, whether it has any primary key or not. For simplicity, I didn't use the primary keys. I will change it to show an example, but this case I didn't use the primary key, and also I'm not checking for null. So I have defined a big int character varying. You can give the length of the variable length character. Then you have a lot of different data types available in Postgres. You can also create your own data type as well. Okay, this way you can check any constraints, any primary key means it will create some constraints and it will show you. Okay, so that's it. We have created a table. Okay, let's insert a row into the table. Usually you can format your string like this and can store it in a variable and can do this. But, the other way also there, this cursor execute is actually taking in two parameters. The query uh, that will look like this. For these values, right, you need to pass in the separate argument for that. So at runtime, it will change. It will place that value and it will execute the query. See, the execute query here is different. here is different because I didn't pass that values here because I have already formatted that and replaced these curly brackets or placeholders with these values. Okay, you might think, hey, you have defined this as big int, but you are passing in a string like that. But PostgreSQL automatically changes this string based on the definition you have attained in while creating the table. It will automatically change because when you are reading from a CSV, right? If you are reading some data from CSV and loading, that time all the tuples or records will be in a string only. So to avoid that, they have created like this. All the strings, if even you give the string or date in a string, internally, whatever the, for example, in this case, I have gave phone number in a string, right? In background, it will check for the data type that is big int that will convert and will store. While retrieving, we will understand this. For to demonstrate that only, I gave in a string. Okay, so I executed that. You can execute any query through the execute method. Either it may be insert or create or any query. Okay, so I'm executing this. So to check the number of rows affected, right? Here I don't see any SQL code that is different, right? To check, if you need to check the row count, then you have, when after executing the query, this cursor object will have this attribute defined. Okay, so the row count will be displayed. After executing query, if you use cursor.count, so that will show you how many records affected. If it's update, how many records affected. Select or insert any row count, you can check with that row count attribute. So I am inserting, I think I have executed many times. Let's check. To view data in this UI, just right click and view data, all rows. You can also edit the records. To execute a query, you have tools, query tool, or here itself query tool is there. If you give this, then this window is enabled so that you can query. See, now it's disabled. Okay, I have executed 2 times, all the rows came in here. Let's select this two statements. This is one row I have installed, I mean inserted. You can do the same insert with this boundary values passed. Boundary values in the sense, instead of formatting outside, you can just pass in placeholders like this, then pass the values separately. So that's what boundary variable they call. Okay, so if I execute this one, this is also inserted, right? So this time I inserted Rajkumar. To execute this query, you need to give this lightning symbol. So it will refresh and it will give you the result set. Okay, so this gets installed, I mean inserted. To insert a multiple rows, you should give, I have told you, right, a list of tuples is very important while creating or writing to CSV, so that it will identify this as a record, this as a separate record, like that. So I have list of values here, list of tuples. To execute all this elements or the records, going to use a or in for loop. You take this mass insert, then take one element and cursor is execute. You can do to do that. Instead of doing that, you can use cursor dot execute many. Okay, so it will take in place of values. I have gave mass insert. This way, that's actually a variable name. What it will do, one element it will take automatically. When I give execute many, then it will resolve these statements and will execute. Okay, let me execute this. 5 rows actually affected. See, the row count only I have just said. So if I go and check in there, you can do all the select and all the statements, DML, DDL, anything in P-SQL also. For example, let me connect to database. Select, delete any command you can run here. If you give slash question mark, all the help commands will come in there. You can explore on your own. Okay. Here I have checked already, right? Okay. So this way, through execute many, you can insert multiple rows. If I'm changing that constraint from to have primary key as phone number as primary key, to alter that you can go in here and change the properties. Since I have already have some duplicate values, it won't allow me to change uh, primary key and not null. This one. See, it has some duplicate keys. That's why cannot able to definition. Okay, if I delete that, then define it. Then you can define the primary key. Let's select some values from the table. Okay, I have given the key. If I have some where condition phone number, right, that time you need to give percentage s, then the here separate argument you need to pass value. If it's only one element, right, I told you, if you are creating a one element in a tuple, the type of this object is actually integer. If you have only one element to pass into this query, then you need to give at least comma so that the type of this object is different. Just to reiterate through it. See, this is tuple. If I check, this one's actually integer. So if I pass this query here and the value as this one, it will give you the error. Okay, so give with comma or phone number right here. That we will see that in just a second. Let me remove this. Also this one. To fetch all the rows from this cursor, right, you can use the fetch all method. Once this statement is executed, after that if you execute curse.fetch all, it will it's actually a list of tuples, so you can store it in some value like records. Fetch all will return you all the records. Fetch many, if you want to retrieve five records, then fetch many you can use how many records you want. Then if you need only one record, then you can use fetch one. When you are using fetch one, you should iterate through while loop and will check for until the end of the file will have none object, right? While that cursor is not none, you should execute this cursor.fetch one. Otherwise, the simple way I always prefer fetch all, then I will store it in the records, then I will iterate through that records. Okay, so you have a copy of that here in the record. See, I have inserted the string there, but here the integer. I have inserted the data as a string there, but internally it converted to datetime object. If you want only 2 records, I told fetch many, right? Only 2 records it will retrieve. If you re-execute that without this cursor select statement, for example, next to 2 records it will retrieve. If I re-execute here, another 2 records until the none object return. Okay. Then update. I need to
Is
update
fetch many
someone
two records
where
means
my first name.
is fetch many 2 records means any of the 2 records in that select list?
No. In the order it retrieved in cursor.
Okay.
If I give I gave print records, right?
Yes, yeah.
How many tuples there? That first tuple get involved in fetch. If I give fetch 1 or fetch many of 1,
Okay. Hmm.
okay, that order will follow. I'm planning to update some phone number for my name. For example, some fancy number. This is not fancy number, just a fancy number, things like that. Okay, I'm executing this and I'm updating it. So it seems like I have 3 records with the name Naveen, and I'm updated all this one. Okay, I'm executing this one. I mean, okay, so all my phone numbers are executed. For example, if I didn't commit this code, I'm removing it, and I'm trying to change this number to some. Okay, it will show you that it's updated 3 records. Since I didn't command, it will be in a transaction. Okay, so if I execute this, see, it doesn't change. For any query you are doing, you should commit if it changes the table record. Okay, so to commit that, if I commit it that separately, if I execute this query again, see, it get changed because the transaction is committed. To delete, this was the scenario I have told you. I'm planning to delete all the number that's with 0058. I required only one argument here. If I give only this number, it's going to fail. Not all arguments converted to string formatting. That means internally that is the problem. That is actually taking it as integer and tries to find another element. So if I give this one, see the 2 records deleted. Since I committed, those changes may be affected here. Okay. So isolation level also you can set. You can create a database itself here, but that's not recommended. To do that, you need to set that isolation level, or isolation level have different context, right? So whenever I'm applying using some table, while reading others using the table, how I should react, whether I should allow them or I should make them update. So it has different meaning. Okay, here some cursor level update, page level isolation, right? So we don't want to go into those topics. That's not our scope. You can explore on your own. I'm just giving a sneak peek of that. Okay, I have told you in place of connecting the I mean giving all the parameters here. For example, password I have given here, right? So in place of that, you can create your own function called config. It will read some data.init file. I will show you what is that file. I have a list of all the parameters I need to pass in there, right? I am keeping it in a separate file or in a common location so that other programs as well can read this data.init file. It's actually a text file, but it's have different initialization to mean that they have this one. A different extension, but it seems like text this one only. You can read it and process it by split command or whatever the custom way you can do, but in market that config parser is there. What it will do, this is called a section. This is actually key value pair. That parser, if you give this section, then it will read all the 4 lines alone. See, not only this database you will connect to different database, and it will have different. For example, I need to connect my DB here. It will have different sections here, right? For example. So different connection parameters can be defined here and can save. So when you are parsing with section name, you can retrieve all these commands until find the next session. So when you search for .ini, what it does, and you can explore it unknown. For now, it will have key value pairs and sections that can be passed and can be used as parameters. Okay. So what is there in this config file where I have defined that? Let me find for it. It's actually a simple function that imports that parser. I will give the file name and the section. It will read database.ini file. It will read section I gave here, right? That it will choose, and config parser will read that file name and we'll keep it here. This is actually a simple function that whether it will check parser.hash section in the sense that PostgreSQL in that file or not. That section I have given in square brackets, right? It will check if it's there, then start to parse the items in the section. So each and every perm, it's creating key value pairs, key and the value, right? It's assigning and returning me the dictionary. When you are giving in star dictionary, then it will unpack those elements and it will return. Okay, see here, that's what happening. So config file I am calling, what it's returning, it's actually returning me the dictionary, right? When I give star perms, then actually it becomes keyword arguments. I have told you, I think. So it will parse those connections. It will replace whatever I have connection here in here. So star represents that keyword arguments I have told you. You can store that multi-line queries as well and store it in a variable called commands. Then if I need to execute that one, each commands I'm taking one query and I'm executing that. I have told you, right, different method. You can do this with execute many as well. After I'm closing the connection and I'm committing that. Also accepting some errors here. And finally we need to, even it's failed or not failed, where we should close the connection, right? Finally means that exception happened or not, it will run. So some housekeeping before the program exits, you can do some function here because it will have some control. Have some fire alarm, some people are running, but this guy will write something useful and will go. Okay. So if I execute this query, it will create 3 tables. Let me refresh this. On which table I'm running on it? Sample database only, right? Okay, I didn't call that method. I'm calling it here, right? So all the tables got created here. I defined the table, but I forgot to call it. Okay, I have called and it's created. Let's see how to load the data from table CSV file to table and table to CSV. If you can write your own function like reading all the lines or records from CSV and can write that manual method also we'll see. And like other databases also, like other databases it have copy and different methods to do that. Let's see that. Okay, I'm creating a connection and creating a cursor, and I'm executing this query which has almost all data types, serial, varchar, date, and different. Okay, so I'm executing this. I have not defined inside a function, so it will directly execute. But the thing I'm missing here is I didn't commit the code. So if I check uh, my schemas, then or tables, it won't reflect. So I will commit the code. So the order is created. I have the CSV file for these data types and table. Okay, so if you need to manually insert all the files records from CSV, I'm importing CSV module and I'm creating a file object F. Usually read is the mode I just gave. Okay, while file handling we have seen all these things, right? I'm creating a reader object after calling or passing this file object. I'm creating a reader object, and if I iterate through and you can execute this one cursor execute. I'm passing in value argument because here I didn't format anything with placeholder and format method. I just gave how many 21 records are there, while how many columns are there. If you want to check, you can give length of row, right? So simple, how many columns are there you can figure out. So that many percentage, yes, you can give. That's a shortcut method to do that. Otherwise you will be end up in counting manually. So I have all this, and boundary variable I give row. In this reader object, it will read all the records from the CSV file and it will keep in this object, right? So if I loop through it, then the row at the first instance, it will have first record, then next record, like that. So let me define it. Okay, so it's committed all the rows. Let's see it's committed or not. Let me show you that file, how it looks like. This CSV file only I have loaded there. Okay, this is with your manual method to insert the multiple rows on a table. If you want to load in real time, this is not the optimized way to do that. So you have copy from method that will you should have the file object, then the table name, then the separator. It may be comma or any pipe symbol or any symbol you can pass in here. So if I execute this now, internally this copy from going to import that CSV, and what are the things I have done there, it will do internally. The simple thing, you need to create the file object and you should pass it. Then the table name, it's required indeed, right? So let me execute this.
This copy from command is that a method from this package or it's a database related command? Copy underscore
Method,
from.
yeah, it's actually, it should be, if I'm executing, what to say, copy from is the method of adapter only.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
but in the background, equivalent copy from is equal to copy, direct copy command. So
Okay,
when I
come over.
execute this copy from,
PostgreSQL.
the background backend PostgreSQL know, hey, I need to execute this copy. Okay,
Okay.
so it will create internally what it requires for the PostgreSQL. Okay.
Can I use the same copy, whatever you said, that copy command in the PostgreSQL directly here instead of through adapter,
You can
that
do it.
adapter method?
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay.
Everything we can do it in the background as well with stored procedure like that. Whenever you have a requirement to database through program, that time you should have a adapter and a program to manipulate that, right? So for that purpose, we have different methods for it.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I'm executing this. Uh, I executed with the same file, I guess. Same file or a different file? A different file, but same content, I guess. So it inserted all the row from here. So manually inserting all the rows through the iterating through all the rows and inserting is this. You can use the copy from method to pass in the file object and the file name and the separator, then you can do it. More details, shift tab. Okay, so you can select that and store it and can loop it. To take a backup copy from backup copy, or you are writing and sending it to someone. Okay, that time create the file object and pass into copy to method, then from which table I should copy, then the separator you wish to include. Okay, this os.remove, just I have told you, right? OS in the sense, this is operating system. System in the sense it refers to Python. So in os.remove, you can remove this file from the current directory before it writes. Okay, for that I gave. Let me execute this one with the different. Okay, copy from database. So all the table that rows that have in our orders table that came into CSV. Okay, for this also is there. If you want to take complete copy of the database itself, then you can go for pg dump. That's basically a PostgreSQL command, pg dump and pg restore to restore the backup from a dump we created. So pg dump and pg restore, you can explore that on your own. Okay, that is pg restore from dump. I'm just this is not actual syntax, I'm just telling you. Pg dump. Here in the foreground also you have tool backup. In the file name I give back. Okay, so compression ratio and different encoding type, something, any encoding type I'll give. In this background it will create pg dump job, and see, it will create the backup. See, internally it executed this command pg dump and stored the all the objects in this file. So file format, you can give different file format. Okay, to restore also you have different functionality. So I want to explain this OS. Just you can use this for different, if you want to change some directory or make directory, different functionality is there. Okay, you can, to get the current directory, get cwd. When I give pwd here, internally the Jupyter notebook going to call this OS method cwd and it's executing. To create a directory, sorry, and if I need to create a new directory over this path, excuse me, you can do the list directory. All the functionality you do in command prompt, right? For example, until this I need what are the contents in that murugnav. If I go with the new fold, then it's empty actually. So list directory, you can use remove directory. To remove all the nested directories, you can use remove dirs, then remove, just to remove that folder. Permission error. So it has different methods available to manipulate folders, changing paths. You can explore it on one. Okay, I think we took 2 hours of time. You may feel already overwhelmed. Let's see the rest of real-time examples. I already well prepared. For speech recognition, right? At least I will execute this one. It will have only 4 lines of code except the else block. See, this simple code See, if you include this try, except, and other print statements, you need only these 6 line of statements to execute your code. Speech recognition is a Google API. You can call it. Okay. So to make it work, you need to install that pip recognition. Okay, speech recognition. I think I already have it. Yeah, I have it. PyAudio is not there. Let it install. Okay. Okay. So to shorthand that, I took it as SR, and I'm calling recognizer method. That will I should execute this separately to give shift tab. Okay. So I am taking this out here and execute. It creates a new recognizer instance. Okay, microphone you are giving as a source. A different method must be there to different mic or some input, right? This listen method, it will read. I mean, if I say something through microphone, it will listen and it will create, store it in the audio. Then I can pass that audio to the recognized Google. It's actually the API. When I call that, it will return something related to audio, what I have spoke. This must be some audio files stored in binary. When I speak on through microphone, right, it will store all the source from here and listen method. Then that will convert all my analog or digital, okay, analog or something, that will convert it to binary and will store it in this audio. So when I call this audio, I mean pass this audio, I have stored to recognize Google method, then it will change what I have spoke, then it will return me. Okay, to handle errors I have two accepts. Okay, if I execute this, Python training. Okay, it didn't wait. Hi folks. Hi Chandru. Okay, so this much simple jars in Java, right? Like you have n number of packages to do your work. See this simple line, 4 line you add. End of the day, you say your friends, "Hey, I have created speech recognition." You know, like that, they will see you differently. So this much powerful is Python. We may connect tomorrow. How do you feel? I mean, can we continue or hey, stop? I need to go for tea. Hello.
Can we continue tomorrow?
Yeah.
Same time is that fine?
Same time we'll connect 3 o'clock.
Okay.
3 p.m.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay. I know I didn't send materials for 2 days. I guess 2 days I didn't send. Tomorrow the complete training material I will send to you along with that. Today also I didn't find that. What is that? Okay, any exercise for you? Okay, then you can work on it. Video links. I will try to download. I will check with Ardunari. Ardunari, it seems you are on the call. Please check. I was able to download that what is that? Day 8 session and day 9 session, but rest of the sessions I could not download. Is this something you need to do or something I need to do, or I'm not sure. If I have a local copy, then I'm sure I will upload in OneNote and will share you the link, because I'm not sure the Office content can be shared in Google Drive. So I will have a copy, then we'll upload in OneNote, and we'll share it to you.
Hey Naveen, when you are sharing the files, you share with the test data and the connection files, related files also.
Yeah, will do.
Naveen,
Okay.
actually, in some of the other training, they have uploaded to Yammer group. There is a CSC Yammer group wherein DXC, sorry, HP and CSC people can access it. So if that is possible, anyone who is recording can.
What is the name? What is the name for that? Could you please
It is
type in the
Yammer,
group chat?
yeah, Yammer group. DXC OneDrive only.
Yam Yammer
Yeah,
group.
yes.
Uh,
You just check it with whoever is recording can upload so and add give access to particular short ID. Everybody can access that way. You can check it with training department. Maybe Saivio can help you on it.
okay. Ardhanari Anand, you there?
Yeah, Naveen, I'm there.
Yeah, okay. You know this Yammer group. Could you please upload those files there?
I have not.
If you are not sure, I will check and will let you know the link.
Okay.
There you can upload, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I know it will take some time to format all these content and organize and to upload. I really appreciate that. Thank you. At least you are answered me, right?
Mhm.
I mean, helped me a lot.
Yeah, no issues, Naveen. Actually, you can check the videos after this uh, call. Actually, maybe.
Okay. Mm-mm. I can able to download. You're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, you can download.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dhanashree. Thank you. Thank you all for joining.
Thanks, Naveen.
Thanks,
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Naveen.
Naveen.
Thanks, Naveen.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.